Greetings, YouTube. A couple of people have asked me why I said what I said about the game Haven, City of Violence, when I commented during one of my RPG tour videos that it was the most pretentious thing I had read and it had turned me off from ever actually reading the game. Well, some people may remember my review of Microscope. And when I reviewed Microscope, I said that it was the most pretentious gaming product I'd ever read. And at the time, that was true, what with the talking stick and it actually not being a game and being an improvisational acting exercise. But I read this book after Microscope. And this is the most pretentious thing I've read in a gaming product, particularly seeing as it's a personal statement from the author, Lewis Porter Jr. Now, Mr. Porter has a blog, and at one time I read it. And at the top of the blog, right under the title of the blog, it says, "I'm smarter than you. Just ask." So, you can see that maybe humility is not one of his virtues. So, I got this book, and it started out, and it's got a really beautiful, like, full-color cartoon, just text, no dialogue. It's really well done, well drawn, high quality, glossy paper. Really impressed the heck out of me. I'm like, hey, cool, this is great. Then I got to this and I go, hey, I recognize this guy's name. Again, I've looked at some of his stuff in the past. I was never floored by it. I was never offended by it. It just was like, okay, it's gaming stuff. So I went into this with a fairly neutral attitude, even after having read that line about him being smarter than me, or any of the rest of us for that matter. So, it's called My Personal Statement on Haven, City of Violence. This shall be an annotated reading. And this is in bold text. If there are any parents who are reading this and feel that the subject matter of this game is not appropriate for their children, in capital letters for the following, then please take it away from them. Okay, first off, you're telling parents what to do. A simple statement. This gaming product deals with real-world violence. Mature viewers are recommended. That's all you had to write. Period. Let the reader and the parents of minors make the call for themselves. I feel that the rest of this passage was completely extraneous and is the reason I won't read the game. Okay. When I first started working on this game, I wanted to make a game similar to the old TSR role-playing game of the early 80s, Top Secret. I loved that game. The concept of spies and secret agents made me incredibly happy. The system was somewhat simple, and the classmates I played with were all somewhat normal, whatever that means. Normal is in parentheses. We would play a game that had a lot of action combined with a lot of gunplay, espionage, and fast cars. We loved it. Okay. Statement didn't bug me. But the funny thing, all at the time, was when we were playing these games, there were a group of people coming out and blaming TSR's most popular game, Dungeons & Dragons, for everything that was bad in the world. If kids committed a crime and happened to play Dungeons & Dragons once, then it was Dungeons & Dragons' fault, not the kids. If a kid committed suicide and played Dungeons & Dragons, then it was Dungeons & Dragons' fault, not the kids. Also true. This actually happened. I lived through it. D&D got blamed for a whole lot of stuff that wasn't D&D's fault. Now, before I go on, I must tell you a little bit about myself. My full name is Lewis M. Porter Jr. I'm an African-American male born right outside Chicago, Illinois on August 26, 1970. I am the youngest son of two boys. My brother, Reginald, is 7 years older than I am and married. I don't really know what that has to do with anything, but he threw that in there. My father has been a vice president of human resources at a major corporation with a master's degree in business administration, while my mother has been an elementary school teacher for the nearly 40 years. Again, why do I need to know this? How does this relate to the game? My parents have been married nearly 40 years and are very much active in the Baptist religious faith. Again, I don't care. Both of my parents were born and raised in Mississippi during the 40s through the 60s. In my life, I have lived in Rochester, New York, Dunbury, Connecticut, Vienna, Virginia, Dallas, Texas, Baltimore, Maryland, Indianapolis, Indiana, and Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and have traveled throughout America, Canada, and Europe. Again, why do I need to know this? I have a bachelor's degree in political science with a minor in American history. Several of my hobbies include movies, graphic design, martial arts, writing, video games, and computers. I'm currently employed as a graphic designer for a large international corporation in Florida and dating a girl of Trinidad descent who just received her master's degree in psychology in family therapy. She needs to work on this guy. Why do I need to know any of this? What is this pretentious flag waving telling me? It's telling me that the following statements are going to be even worse. As you can tell, I'm a very diverse and somewhat educated person. Again, hubris seems to be his specialty, and humility is not. Now, the reason I wrote all this about me is to give you a little understanding on how I see the world at large in general and specifically. I am very sure that sometime in the future, someone caught while committing a crime will try to use this game as I created as a scapegoat to defend their actions. Really? You really think that your gaming product is going to be used as a scapegoat for someone else's crimes? That's hubris with a capital H. There will be people who will blame me for causing certain individuals to be pushed over the edge or for playing out some type of antisocial behavior. Let me inform you on my personal feelings, my company's feelings, and make a statement about the issue as followings. Capital letters for the following sentence. Everyone is responsible for their own actions! Congratulations. You have all the depth of your average 5-year-old. This is right. That is right. Sorry. Let me repeat myself just in case you misunderstand me. The following is in all capital letters. Everyone is responsible for their own actions! Any and all things that go on in my life, except for an act of God, I am responsible for. If I commit a crime, I did it, and there is no one else to blame. If you go out and commit a crime, you are the one responsible, not the devil, not your mother, not little green men, nor any of the other stuff. You are. You are is in capital letters. In the last few decades in the United States of America, certain individuals have managed to convince many people that nothing is anyone's fault anymore. The concept of self-responsibility has all but disappeared. Anyone over the age of 10 has at least a basic understanding of what is right and wrong. The problem is that in the United States we need to place blame on someone or something other than ourselves when it all goes wrong. One school kid kills another school kid with a gun, and who do these people blame? The parents? The gun manufacturer? The school? What the hell happened to making the person who performed the act responsible for their actions? Which is a wonderful concept if human beings lived in vacuums. But they don't! We are all part of the warp and weft of society. There is no individual, completely separate actions. We react and act to things as part of a society, except for the few people in the world who are true sociopaths. That commits that crime, he didn't do it in isolation. Alright? Is he responsible? 100%. But just maybe, it was because something in the world around him had an effect on him as well. The reason I wrote this game was to show the darker elements of the human mind, to play them out in the setting where everyone takes place in the modern fantasy world. I like action movies and television shows from Jean-Claude Van Damme to Chow Yun-Fat to John Woo to Jet Li to Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes isn't a very good actor, sorry. I like the action they bring to the big screen or the television, and I want to bring that experience in the role-playing game, period. That is the reason I wrote this game. I did not do it to corrupt the immorals of children or help Satan gather souls. I did it because I like the genre of action-adventure. Well, I'm so glad you're not collecting souls or helping Satan. And frankly, you could have pulled off any of the things you just described in any number of systems. Feng Shui comes off the top of my head right now as one specifically designed for that. This next part is from the parent who may be taking an active role in their children's development by seeing and reading whatever their children are involved with. If there are any parents who are reading this and feel that the subject matter of this game is not appropriate for their children, the following is in capital letters, then please take it away from them. Again, dictating to parents how to run their lives. Exercise your rights as a parent and do what is necessary. I am personally grateful for the parents who act like parents instead of passing the responsibility off to anyone else. I'm also thankful for any parent who gets directly involved in whatever games or other activities their child is involved with, instead of just dropping their kid off at whatever activity they do and leaving. Like so many of the ones I have seen while playing role-playing games in the last 20 or more years. We need more good parents instead of adult babysitters. I'm dumbfounded. Just flabbergasted with the first time I read that statement, and again now. This paragraph is for those who need to blame someone or someone for their actions or the actions of another. Capital letters. Stop it! I don't know what type of environment you grew up in, but I was taught that one stands up for one's actions they have done, whether good or bad, and does not shirk away from responsibility for those actions, good or bad. There will be people who will say that I am glorifying violence with this game. I am glorifying with this game is the ability for individuals to make choices, whether they are positive or negative, good or bad, right or wrong. Once again, I will say it. Capital letters. Everyone is responsible for their own actions. I just wish some of you would act like that. I think that falls under the category of boilerplate, but your game is Haven City of Violence. You need to take responsibility for the fact that you've created a game that glorifies violence. I can't sugarcoat that, folks. It's right here. I must say, as someone who enjoys role-playing games, that I feel bad that, capital letters, I had to place this type of statement in my game. But you didn't. Please take this game for the context it is intended as a peaceful way to interact with others of a similar interest. I created this game to promote having fun. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did writing it. This is not a peaceful game. I don't know what the mechanics are, because I didn't read fast that statement. After I finished this, I put the game on my shelf, and I will never look at it again. I was stunned by this statement. I was stunned by the frame of mind that made someone think that it was well written and that it was necessary. Again, this game deals with violence in a realistic manner. Recommended for mature audiences only. That's it! You've covered your ass, you've made the statement, and I don't need to know who your parents are, or what schools they went to, what religion they are, what racial ethnicity your girlfriend is. I was stunned at this. So, that is why I made the statement that it was the most pretentious thing I've ever read in a gaming product. Now, I'm sure I may find something more pretentious than this in the future. I'm not sure what, and frankly, I'm not really looking forward to it. And I apologize to anyone who finds this statement offensive or over the top, but that's what I found that to be. It was insane. It ranks up there with some of the things that McCracken wrote in The World of Cinnabar. So over the top that I almost think it could be viewed as satire. But I'm terrified, really terrified, that it isn't.